So there was a video that came out a couple days ago, I think, or maybe more than that, but it was pretty well upvoted on the movie subreddit called "Anime Movies for People Who Don't Like Anime." It's an okay video. He recommends a few movies that people who don't like anime probably would like, stuff like Tech on Concrete. But for the first 2 minutes of the video, he goes on this little tangent about how like most anime isn't good. Um, and like he really kind of seems to almost kind of believe that. Like he really does this weird thing of sort of talking to these probably people who don't like anime and going like, yeah, you're right, anime isn't good. That's kind of what it seems like he's doing a little bit, even though he says, oh, I love anime. He says in the video, it seems weirdly dissonant. um and I just kind of want to talk about that general thing that anime fans will do when they sort of talk bad about anime, often to people who aren't anime fans. And you can see the title of this video, which is "Anime is Trash, LOL." This isn't about the thing that people will do where they will affectionately call things they like trash for no real reason, which is also very annoying to me. I've seen that a lot on Tumblr, and I don't like that either. It just seems lame. This is not about that. This is about kind of almost legitimizing aspects of anime as being bad, even though you like anime. Seems like kind of a useless thing to me. I will admit there are a lot of anime that I will watch when I will go, oh, I want more anime that are paced like Western shows, that are paced like movies, or really even disregarding the West, that are paced more realistically, that sort of give a feel of realism in the way they're edited, the way people move and stuff like that. But that's not even really to say that what we do have with anime is bad. Um, it really is so weird to me because, like, you should be defending the things you like, and people do this. I think I've done this a few times with some things where, because you're nervous about talking to someone who might not like what you like and you want them to like what you like, that you're kind of more willing to talk about what's bad about it. But in a lot of ways, when you do that, you are betraying your own liking of that thing. When you're saying, oh, this scene is kind of stupid. Ooh, like when you're watching a movie with like your parent or something, or like something that you like. Like, I think that's kind of a bad thing to do, because you should like what you like. And if you're only talking about the bad aspects of it now when you're watching with someone else, not much of a reason for doing that. So I just kind of want to talk about, those aspects of anime that people say are bad, the quirkiness, the sort of the overwhelming quickness that it can sometimes have, the way the comedy's done, the face faults and the chibi faces, which is as my dad calls it. Whenever I mention anime, he goes, ooh, chibi. But, things like that can take getting used to for people who aren't into anime. But so does a lot of stuff in Western shows. The gratuitous sex, for instance. Something like a Tarantino movie. All the style in that can take getting used to for anyone that's not initiated. I was just watching Arrested Development tonight, a show which has a very distinct sense of style, which probably does turn a lot of people off, though I don't actually know. I can certainly imagine it. That show is not really, the dialogue is not like a normal comedy, the editing isn't like a normal comedy, the music isn't like a normal comedy. So that's a good example. There's examples of this kind of stuff in works all over the world where they just have elements that are worth getting used to, but that doesn't mean that in order to appeal to people who are having a hard time getting into those works that you need to trash those aspects of the thing. This is really one of those things where, in order to, as an adult, enjoy anime, which, people will sell you as like for kids or whatever bullcrap, you actually have to be kind of more mature in a way in order to accept those immature elements of the thing that you like. But obviously there are a lot of immature people who don't like anime. And I guess they don't give a shit. Good for them. I don't know. The weird thing about this video was that the guy in it was sort of putting together anime movies and TV anime like they're the same thing, which they're not. It seems like a really weird thing to me because I think when he's talking about, ooh, anime is bad, he's mostly talking about TV anime, but the video is all about anime movies. And acting like those are the same things is weird. You know, like I feel like everyone, you know, when you're comparing anime to Western media, you know, you're usually not considering movies as being the same thing as Western TV. When people compare anime to what's in the West, they're talking about TV. They're not talking about movies. Yeah, this guy, when he's considering anime, is sort of considering both as part of the same thing, even though the subject of the video is only about movies, so he's really not, which makes this whole beginning of this video even worse. It's just really weird to me. What else do I have here in my notes? So yeah, anime movies are different, and most of them are always much more appealing to a casual audience than anime shows, which is why an anime film tends to get nominated for an Oscar every year. And if people are going to say stuff like, oh, you know, this guy is acting like there's some weird disconnect, that anime movies are much better than anime shows or something like that. And I guess people in the West, you might think like, oh, would our shows in the West, the movies aren't much better. They're the golden age of television. You can find great things on TV that are just as good or better than many movies that come out today. And like, okay, maybe that's kind of true, but thing number one, that's not really that true. Many TV shows are like super kind of rote and cliche. And it's the same with anime, but just like with anime, there's also a lot of good shows out there. You get good ones and bad ones every season. But also, I don't know if maybe you don't remember that Western TV, I think, was like really, really bad on the whole. Like until this new golden age, which started with like Mad Men or whatever people say. Like I'm pretty sure, you know, in Western shows, they used to be just like so afraid of like any kind of continuity. And that was something anime, by the way, has always had over Western shows. And yet, now that Western shows have finally caught up, you know, you don't see people trashing all those years where they didn't do that. I think this video is getting a bit rambly, but I hope I'm painting around a sort of point. You know, I think if I do enough black splotches around the circle, it may start to look like a circle, and come into focus that way. And you know, it's just that acting like this quirky comedy in anime is like an immediate turnoff that no one will ever get used to, I think is also stupid, because the exact kind of quirky comedy that is displayed in anime seems to magically become more palatable to audiences when it's done correctly in live action movies. Now, this is extremely rare. Kung Fu Hustle is a big example that I can think of right now. Stephen Chow does it in a lot of his movies, but I'm pretty sure that there are some American movies that do at times have jokes with that sort of very quick pace. Scott Pilgrim, great example, does these jokes in a really kind of different style. It's more anime-esque in the comedy. So that's kind of a bunk argument to me. If you can't get into anime, I think you kind of just need to grow up in a way. You know, like I kind of have a hard, like, I totally understand being turned up by those elements in the beginning, by the chibiness, by the way, you know, characters look and move and how romance is handled, you know, pervy bullshit, whatever turns you off. I can understand it at the beginning when you're someone coming into it. But if you can never get into anime, I think that's bullcrap, because anime is a medium, and you know, there's other genres and whatever. I'm not going to get into that, because that's sort of the subject of another video of talking about why people who aren't in anime should get into anime. What I think is stupid here is why people who are into anime trash anime, which I don't get. So hopefully the circle came into focus there. And thanks for listening to this. Let me know if you have any opinions in the comments.